Are you working in the green industry without insurance? Adrian with Insprovider sits with us today and breaks down all the different insurances that all of us should have to be protected in the green industry. We touch on topics such as general liability, umbrella policy, commercial auto policies, workers' compensation, bonds, and also vendors insurance. So vendors insurance basically covers the money that you give out on terms that if they don't pay, you can insure it. This is a next level episode that can get your business rolling in the right direction with the right coverage. Adrian really does bring a personal touch to what insurance is, really looking out for his customers. But the episode doesn't stop there, guys. We dive deep into personal growth. Adrian asked me a lot of personal questions that I was able to open up and really give my 2 cents and the truth, heartfelt truth of how I feel about these questions that you're not going to want to miss. So let's get this episode rolling, guys, and get you guys learning about insurance. Let's grow.
Are you ready to grow? The Plant Movement with Willie Rodriguez of A's Ornamental Nursery in sunny South Florida is the podcast for those in the nursery business. Garden centers, landscapers, power growers, and plant enthusiasts. Willie is a passionate leader in the plant movement and has helped others grow their business into multi-million-dollar companies. This show will save you time, money, and headaches through top-notch education and by connecting you to experts in the industry. Let's grow. Here's your host, Willie Rodriguez.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez, and guys, I've been wanting to bring on someone that is very bright and brilliant on insurance. That way you can reach out to someone that is real and get the insurances you need. Us being business owners, insurance is one of the most important things that we all need to have because we know that when you need it, you're going to be thanking God that you have it. So today we have Southern Insurance Providers. We have Adrian, which is the owner. He started this company in 2018. He's here today to talk to us about so many things. He is involved in the green industry. He already works with plenty of landscapers, so he's familiar with our industry, familiar with the needs. When he called me, he was telling me about all these different things that he provides. We're going to talk about it today, but one thing that really caught my attention was insuring your age receivables, which is if you give out terms 30 days, you're a nursery, landscaper, whatnot, and people don't pay you, there's an insurance to get paid. And we're going to dive deep into that and everything else he has to offer. But Adrian, thank you so much for coming today, man.
Thank you.
You made a trip down from Miami, so it wasn't too far, 30, 40-minute ride.
No, Broward County. We're in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, you're in Fort Lauderdale.
Davie, Florida, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, so
Yeah,
thank
man.
you so much for having me.
You're welcome, man.
I'm ecstatic. I love what you guys are doing. So,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hope to be here at one point doing this for other people. So,
Yeah,
so
right.
thank you.
100%, man. 100%. The sky's the limit. But I want people to hear your story real quick on how you got into the insurance game and why you feel like this is what you can do to really bring value and reach what you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
And then I want to dive into all the different things you offer. And I want you guys to jot them down because if you're missing one of these within your business, you might want to, reach out and get it done.
So I basically got into the business through my old man, my father.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a lot of people who get into the insurance industry through a family connection.
Okay.
I was blessed because I think it's a very well-kept secret. I was able to learn the good from him and keep that and get rid of the bad.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So when we learn from our parents, I think you did the same thing.
Yes, sir.
I took advantage of getting rid of the bad, and part of that was getting rid of not doing much personal, but focusing on business insurance, which is a passion of mine. I love
so not personal insurance policies, but more of the business, commercial.
More of business insurance. That's all. That's all we provide.
Okay.
We do personal services for our clients that want to work with us since they love working with us.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, that's what we focus on and that's what we target. We're super competitive and we can save people a ton of money. So I'm really confident in what we can do for people. So we really target people hard, and we do that through a system that I've created, and it works very well. People are happy to quote with us and see if we can save them money. So we provide all types of insurance. General liability would be kind of the heart of all policies.
General liability is what, like an umbrella coverage? You have multiple properties, or you have explain to everyone what
general liability is would be kind of like the heart of all policies. It's what you're going to need in order to get contracts for any buildings that you want to do work at. Any commercial vendors that are going to give you contracts, they're going to require this policy. And what it does is it covers any errors that you or your employees make that cause bodily injury to the third party or property damage to that third party. Okay. So, you know, if you're mowing some lawns and a rock breaks a window, something like that. It caused property damage to somebody else.
You break the main line, digging a huge hole, and now it costs $100,000.
That's a great one. It's happened a lot. You know, FPL cables get cut. You know, these things do happen constantly. And when you get the bill, you know, who's going to foot it? You know, obviously that's why you pay a premium per month, so that when you don't have to pay that 10, 12, 15, 20, $100,000 all at once.
Yeah, that's why when people ask if you are licensed and insured, one of the insured that they're asking about is general liability, because no one wants you working on their premises that if you slip and fall or anything like that, now they're liable for you.
Correct.
They want to make sure that you're covered, and that way, you know, everything's done freely. And that opens a lot of doors, guys, for any of you guys that don't have general liability, whether you're a nursery, whether you're a landscaper, hardscaper, you're going to want to get it because it just opens a lot more opportunities.
And I want to explain. So that is the heart of all policies. It's going to be the most important. And if you're just starting out, it's not going to be expensive.
Okay.
It only starts becoming more of a cost once you're making money. Why? Because it's based on sales.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if
the rate is a percentage of your sales.
So I'm going to explain to you how these companies and why I'm able to save companies money, how they rate you.
Awesome.
You know, and people might like this so that they become more prepared when they speak to their agent about how they're getting rated.
Okay.
So every general liability, it's not like workers' comp, I'll go into that, but every general liability company has different rates. Okay. Some of them base it off sales, some of them base it off payroll.
Okay.
Now what you do is you get let's say it's based off sales, let's say it's $2 million in sales. You multiply that by the rate that they're providing you.
Okay. What's the normal rate?
That's the thing. Every general liability company is different.
Okay.
We have hundreds of companies. We might have one that's offering a $7 rate, and then another one that's offering a $3.
Okay.
And they're providing the same coverage.
A percentage.
Yeah, it's something that you can't even fathom to speak about, because
everyone has their own prices.
Everybody has their own prices. That's a good way of putting it. So what you do is you get your sales, you multiply it by that rate, and then you divide it by 100.
Okay. And that would be your yearly premium.
That is your annual premium.
Okay.
That's how you get your annual premium.
Guys, it's sales multiplied
by rate. So you
by
can always go
rate.
ask your agent, hey, what's my general liability rate? And you can figure out what your premium is going to be based on your sales.
Okay. If they do it that way, by sales.
If they do it by sales. If they do it by payroll, obviously the companies are smart.
Okay.
What they do is they increase the rate because the payroll is less.
Okay.
Right? So obviously it's a higher rate, but the number is less.
Okay. So more or less it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Sometimes it's beneficial when it's rated off payroll versus sales, because obviously the payroll number, maybe if you have less expenses, might be lower than if you're making a ton of money.
But that's where someone like you comes in really well, because you have options. So you ask them what they need, or they call you. And now you're like, hey, they're like, hey, I need a general liability. What do you want? $1 million coverage, $500,000, whatever it might be. Maybe it's someone small. They need $100,000. You can go and battle that out and find the best rate for them and what company works best for them. And now you give them, you know,
and that's why I love business insurance. And that's why I love business insurance, because I can guide people. I can help them in personal. You know, I can guide you, but there's only one way that I'll be able to guide you. You know, shop around every year. One company's going to beat them. In business, we can really get lucrative. There's a lot more options, a lot more ways to help the client, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love being able to say, hey, you were paying $42,000, but now you're paying $21,000.
Yeah.
I love that, bro.
Yeah,
that
man.
brings that
Save them a lot of money.
Passion, bro.
100%.
You know, and you know, they're happy to work with me. Very personal touch. And this includes a ton of landscapers, tree trimmers, irrigation, anything that has to do with
a business,
with contracting. We specialize in.
Okay.
You know, we do a ton of contracting.
Yeah, you guys move cranes, you do barges, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so we're really killing it in contractors right now. We have special programs, and we're 1 in 15 agents in the nation with these special programs for companies that do $1 million and higher.
What is that program? Talk to us about it.
Well, it's multiple different programs through brokerages.
Okay.
And they don't offer this to everybody.
Okay.
Why? Because there's a lot of agents that, number one, I think I explained this to you a little bit earlier in our conversation, that they don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
And that's okay. They just don't know about commercial.
Okay.
Right? So they want these companies that are offering really good rates, they want to make sure that the people that are submitting to them know what they're doing. You know, because they want a full submission. They don't want to be missing information. Because number one, it's gonna waste their time, and then they're gonna know that company is unorganized, not prepared. And a huge tip for anybody that has claims. You know, I just want to throw this out there.
Existing claims right now.
An existing claim right now. You know, go through the work of putting together what happened in each claim and what you did to change it.
Okay.
I'm gonna explain to you why these carriers, they really like to see that they're not the only ones putting in the work.
Okay.
They want to see that you're putting in the work too.
Okay.
So when they see that, they're like, okay, these people are doing everything possible so this doesn't happen again. Let's give them a shot. Let's give them a break. They're going to give you a break. Obviously, the more claims you have, the higher your risk. We're risk mitigators. So, you know, these companies, you know, the more claims you have, the higher the risk you are.
Okay.
And obviously, it's like a pot of money. The more that goes in, the more that comes out, they got to add more in. So, you know, insurance companies are not in business to lose money.
Yeah, 100%. And like one way to combat that, if you do have a million claims, is to maybe fund what happens on your own and not make a claim. You know, if something small happened that's $1,500, just pay for it and don't make the claim, because now you fall into problems like this where it's harder to get insured. It's harder. It's a lot more.
Yeah, frequency is a huge issue in claims.
Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, those little things, take care of them on your own.
Yeah.
So if you have 10 small claims, I mean, it's just as bad as having
two big ones.
You know, 2-3 big ones. You know, because they just don't want a frequency.
Yeah.
Frequency is probably more important than volume. They understand if you had 5 clean years and then you had 1 shock loss, like they're okay with that. Like we can explain that.
Yeah.
You might not even get a rate increase, like legit.
Yeah. No, I've had to make claims on my insurance, let's say auto, and no increases, but you know, it's only been, let's say, 1 in 10 years or 2 in 10 years.
And that's what they look at.
That's what they look at.
That's what they look at.
And like we have an umbrella policy for the nurseries that is general liability, and that covers someone that slips and falls or any accident that happens here, and it's something you have to have.
So the general liability, we'll go back to that, is the heart of all policies, right? It's the one you're gonna really want to start out with when you start a business. And like I was saying, that I think we went through a rabbit hole.
Well, a little bit.
You basically pay based off the amount of sales. So if your sales are none, you're gonna be paying the minimum, which is like $500, $600-700 a year.
Okay.
You know,
and you can make monthly payments?
Absolutely. You make monthly payments. You know, that becomes financed, and you know, you can pay between $49 and $90 a month starting out your business. You know, so it's the number 2 most expensive, the number 2 biggest expense in any business. Which, do you know what number 1 is?
A payroll.
There you go. Smart guy, man.
At least that's mine.
Payroll is number 1, man. Payroll is number 1, and then insurance is number 2.
Yeah.
So it is the second most, but you gotta, you know, you're not gonna not make money and pay a ton of insurance.
Yeah.
You know, so when you start making money, that's when you're gonna start paying insurance, because your risk is higher.
And that has, now we could jump to workers' comp, because that's right up that alley.
That's another one.
Workers' comp
We'll go
is,
next.
you know, I think for landscaping is 1 or more employees, or even for yourself.
I'll explain. So in workers' comp, we're gonna talk about Florida.
Okay. Because it's different for every state?
It's different in every state. Some
Okay.
states require it. Some states don't.
Workman's comp.
Some states, the companies select the rates. Some states, the state selects the rates.
Are you familiar with all of that in different states? Because we have listeners from all over the United States.
So I'm not familiar with every single state.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm an expert.
Okay.
You know, but if you are interested, you can send me a DM and I'll do the research for you.
100%.
You know,
Okay,
so
awesome.
no big deal.
Awesome.
You know, that's like the least of the worries.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to help
No,
anybody.
and you're going to learn along the way too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is great.
We are planning to go nationwide.
That's awesome.
You know, part of our system is it's bringing in leads from other states, and it's an issue. So we are trying to expand.
Okay.
Absolutely. So workers' comp in Florida is basically, it's required, but in 2 different sections of industries it's required. Section number 1 is going to be non-construction.
Okay. So would hardscape fall under that? Because hardscape is like
that's gonna be
pavers.
construction.
That's construction. So landscaping?
So I want you to think of it like this, like a contractor. The way these insurance companies think of it, a contractor is somebody that's going to go to a job, provide a service, their vehicle is sitting while they're providing that service, and it's not being driven. They're providing a service, whereas a commercial is always on the road. So if you're providing a service, a lot of times you're a contractor, right?
Okay.
So that's the way I like to say it. Does your car sit there while you provide a service? You're
And
probably
this
a contractor.
is what it has to do with workman's comp?
Yeah, so workers' comp is non-construction. We'll go back to
Okay.
that. Workers' comp is non-construction, and then we have construction.
Okay.
Landscaping is going to be fall under construction.
It will fall under construction?
It will. If
Okay.
you ask me, landscaping is a construction because you're a contractor, okay?
Okay.
You're providing a service and you're moving parts, especially hardscapes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's construction. So a landscaper is required 4 or more. I'm sorry.
3.
A landscaper is one.
Mm-hmm.
One employee is going to be required to have workers' compensation, 1 or more.
So if you're the owner and you pay yourself, you're an employee.
If you're an owner and you pay yourself, you are an employee, but as an owner, you can become exempt.
Okay.
So you can have an exemption filed with the state saying that I don't need insurance.
Okay.
But if you get another employee on that payroll, they are going to be required insurance. Now, that's construction, plumbers, electricians, landscapers, air conditioning could even be that.
That as well.
And then you have the non-construction office, lawyers,
Well,
doctors.
people that trim trees, that falls under construction.
Oh, that's 100% construction.
Yeah.
1 or more tree trimmers, and you definitely need workers' comp.
So you guys heard, if you have 1 or more employees and you're in any of these industries, what about nurseries, plant nurseries? Because that's
if you're
outdoors.
if you're doing installations,
Oh no, nurseries grow plants.
that's more like farming.
Okay.
So
I think it's 3 or more for our
that's gonna be 4 or more.
4 or more. Okay.
That's gonna be 4
So
or
if you're a nursery and you have 4 employees, you need workman's comp. If you don't have it, trust me, go get it. Because I think I told my story. Did I tell my story, Eddie? I got hit with workman's comp hard, and they went back 3 years, and they made me pay what I was supposed to pay for 3 years, and I couldn't make. I was like, man, if you're making me pay for 3 years back, can I make a claim from 2 years ago? They're like, no.
Yeah.
And I was paying that on monthly payments for 5 years, guys.
Yeah, you get you get workers' comp inspections. These workers' comp inspectors have the right to go onto your property. Just doing business in Florida, they have this right, and to check that you have all the requirements, state requirements for workers' comp. So if you don't, they will stick a fine to you.
Oof.
They will make you pay back, and you won't be able to make any more money with your employees until you pay all of that and you fix it all. So just imagine being down for 2 weeks, 4 weeks because the workers' comp guy.
Trust me, I know. And then to get workman's comp, when you have that red flag, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. I mean, when you're trying to get anything done in a fast
time period, and you have the red flag on you.
Yeah.
It's not fun, guys. Trust me. Get workman's comp. It's better to be, legit and do things the proper way. I know we're all trying to save money. We're trying to cut corners. That's just how it is. You're coming up. That's how it is. But there's certain things that you don't want to cut corners on, because if you get caught, then it's bad. Yeah. And then it's all at one time when you could have done it, on monthly payments.
Yeah. It's not so expensive. It goes based off of only payroll.
So talk to us about that.
So how you do it, how they calculate it is there's a rate with workers' comp. And it works a little differently than general liability, because general liability, you divide it by 1,000.
Okay.
But workers' comp, you divide it by 100.
So it's the total of your W-2
1,000
and 1099s.
Correct. So I'm gonna go into that. That's another little rabbit
I just
hole.
want you guys to learn this stuff so you guys understand.
Yeah, that's another little rabbit hole. So technically, okay, a W-2 employee is obviously an employee. Mm-hmm. That's workers' comp that you're paying for because they're on the payroll. Mm-hmm. Now you have 1099s. Some people have the misconception that a 1099 employee is not an employee, and that's incorrect. Even if you're paying them 1099 and they're doing work for you, they're still your responsibility. Yeah. If while they're doing a job, they cut their finger off. Yeah.
They're not your employee, but they are someone that is working in your facility or on your property. Correct. And doing work for you at that time.
Now, now that's the misconception. What happens is, and how to avoid that is, you get your employees to open up a business. Mm-hmm. You do your checks towards the business. And they have
1099s.
And they have 2 options, right? And they have 2 options, whether to get their own insurance or to get a workers' comp exemption if there's only one person that you're paying 1099, and you don't want to pay workers' comp for that employee. Now, you can't have 50 employees and have 50 exemptions, because the workers' comp carrier is still on the hook if something happens to them. Yeah. And they want to pay the premium for those people. It's not like you're not going to pay premium. So people have the misconception, oh, it's 1099. I don't have to pay for them. Yeah, you do, because if anything happens to them, they were doing work for you, and it's your responsibility.
But it's not crazy, guys. Like, it's not crazy expensive. It isn't. We have a lot of employees, and payroll is the biggest expense, and what we pay is not crazy.
And crazy, even crazier, it's going down.
It's going down.
It's the only thing going down. It has these workers' comp carriers going crazy because we already had a decrease a couple years ago in workers' comp. And
decrease
now
in the percentage that you have to pay.
In the rate, because, and this is a little bit different than general liability, where every company has a different rate. Workers' comp, no agent's going to ever be able to save you money.
Because in Florida it's one rate.
Because in Florida, the state provides the rate per classification. So if we have two plumbers and they both have 100,000 in payroll, and they have two different companies for workers' comp, they're going to pay the same amount. The only difference will be when two plumbers have different payroll. If we have 100,000 and 500,000, obviously the rate's going to be, but the rate is the same for every classification. So that's actually an easier one to calculate, because you can look up what the rate is for your classification and calculate how much your payroll times that divided by 100. So that's how you can calculate the workers' comp if you're ever interested.
We learned a lot, guys. One thing he said that I don't know if you guys know, but if you are paying people in 1099, it's better to have them open a company. Now you pay that company and it's more legit. Straight, like, for real.
It relieves liability from you, obviously. They have their own business. If anything happens, it's their responsibility. And then they can either get a workers' comp exemption, or they can get their own workers' comp policy, which is like an owner-only workers' comp policy.
Yeah, if they want to. Another thing that is a must in this industry, and I want you guys to listen to this, is a bond. Okay, and that is a form of insurance. I want you to talk to us about that. I touched on it on an episode, but I'm not an agent. I don't sell this stuff. I am a consumer of it. If you guys are not bonded, you need to get bonded. So landscape companies, right? So we're on Instagram. We get a company that calls, they DM us, they send us a list. It's 20, 30, 50 grand, whatever it might be. They want to give me a check. Okay, first time people, I don't like getting checks from, because checks are a piece of paper at the end of the day, and you never know if there's even money in the account.
Of course.
So one of the questions I ask is like, hey, if you're adamant you want to give me a check, no problem. I need 3 sources that I can call that you have purchased from before, so they can tell me, hey, yay or nay, and I ask you for a bond. If you cannot provide me with a bond, I will not take your check. I'll ask you for a cashier's check. A bond opens doors. Explain to us what a bond is when it comes to a landscaper or nurseries or anything like that. Just a brief, what a bond, and then I know there's a million different bonds.
There's so many bonds, man.
Yeah,
like,
but,
I can go like this.
But I want to talk about, bonds that pertain to this industry.
We'll talk about like two, since there's so many bonds.
What is a bond? Real quick, just what is a bond?
So a bond is basically a guarantee that you're going to perform the duty that you're saying that you're going to perform, right? So there's, like you said,
in
there's
the form of payment.
Right. There's a payment bond. And that's why I say there's
so the payment bond is what we use. So what I'm getting at there, like let's say for a nursery, right? I'm a nursery, and let's say there's a landscaper or a garden center, another nursery comes and buys product from me. If their check bounces, or if they don't pay, I give them 30 days, they don't pay, I have a signed invoice, I have proof that they purchased the product. Now I can reach out to the bond if they disappear, which happens. And now we're getting into a rough economy where we're going to see a lot of this starting to happen. So you want to ask people if they're bonded. Yeah. And that's a form of now calling the bond, telling them, hey, this guy is a ghost. He doesn't answer me. I have proof of this. He gave me a check that bounced, yada, yada, yada. You have your, everything done. And now you present that, and now the state goes after them. Okay, the state pays you. I don't think it's 100% though. I think it's like 80. I'm not 100%.
I can't tell you exactly, because I haven't, thank God, had to deal with somebody
with that.
I know my clients. I might have legit clients.
Okay,
thank God.
That's good. Or they have legit clients. Your customers have legit clients.
Right.
So you get a percentage of it back, which I think is 80%, but the state pays you that, and then they go after them. So you don't have to pay attorney fees. You don't have to do nothing. You just got to make sure they have a bond. A bond is recurring. You do it every year. So every year you ask them for their bond license. And once you build a relationship with somebody, more or less, that should not happen. That's why we always talk about how important relationships are. Yeah. But if you're getting checks, first-time customer or someone that's rocky, you want to make sure they're bonded.
Yeah, so that's one, is like the payment bond. Then there's a performance bond, making sure that the job is going to get done correctly, right? So let's say you contract somebody to do a job. It's a $500,000 job for the city.
Or you're a landscaper and they ask you for your bond to be able to perform, or a hardscaper, a $500,000 job.
Can you imagine that person doesn't finish that job? You paid them and that job doesn't get finished. So there's performance bonds. I mean, that's another really important one.
Which is like, let's paint the picture. A general contractor, he's building a house and he reaches out to you to do the landscaping or to do the pool or to do the hardscape work, a pergola, whatever it is. Now that guy does not pay you. You got to make sure he's bonded, which is a performance bond.
Correct.
Right? And now the state will pay you for your pergola, for your work that you did, your landscaping, yada, 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 so you can pay your vendors, the people you bought the plants from, the soil from, the wood from, the pavers from, and that's where you're supposed to be bonded.
Right.
And then it just goes down the ladder. But that's basically what it's for.
So bonding is like kind of like insurance for you, right?
Yeah.
For you. So
for your work.
A way that I like talking about how they come up with the pricing, right?
Okay.
And how they quote.
Okay.
Right?
A bond is super cheap, guys.
A bond could be cheap, yeah.
For us, it's dirt cheap. It's
cheap.
$750 a year, and I'm able to purchase. The maximum is $150,000 a month.
Cheap. It's very cheap. I've had $150 bonds for the year.
Yeah. No, it starts
cheap.
there. It starts really low, guys. So you're gonna pay between $150 and $750. That's like the max.
Just to make sure, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So
a year.
And then what are they gonna ask you on an application? They're gonna ask you your net worth, how much money you have in your bank account, and stuff like that. So they have stuff like that, and what happens is that lowers the mitigation of you not paying, because they know you have $100,000 in your bank account.
Or you have assets,
or you have assets. This guy is not gonna go without payment. So that's why it's so cheap. It's very low risk.
So you have to pretty much qualify to be able to get a bond.
You do have to qualify, absolutely.
So do you have to?
They can decline you from.
They can decline.
100% they can decline you.
Oh wow.
100% they can decline you. Can you imagine that somebody's too big of a risk and that they never pay their bills, and they're not gonna bond you if you can't pay your own bills that you've already had responsibility for. Can you imagine taking on new responsibility? I mean, you can absolutely be declined.
What do you need to qualify for a bond?
Just have to be favorable.
Okay.
Clean. Just be clean, man.
You have to have credit.
You have to be a good person. They might do a soft hit. They're not gonna.
I don't think I got hit for my credit.
They're not gonna check you. They're not gonna check your
it's not gonna hit
actual
your score.
Credit, but they are gonna see if you have any any collection. Soft hit, man. A soft hit. They're gonna run you. They do ask for your social.
So that's why it's so important, guys, to have your credit right and to pay your bills and be an honorable person. And if you can't pay something, at least make the phone call and be a man, like we've talked about.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in business if you're not being ethical, man. I mean,
100%. And people like to work with people that are on top of everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Straight. That's what we've learned.
So I think we've covered general liability, workers' compensation, bonds. And then another really important one, and maybe we add one or two, but one is definitely commercial auto.
Okay.
And we're super commercial auto centric.
Okay.
53% of our book of business, I calculate, I keep track of everything. Okay. We're very organized. We're a small agency, but we're extremely organized. Put us up to next to the other guys, and we're very organized. So 53% of our book is commercial auto.
Okay.
Now what's that? Fleets of vehicles. In a commercial auto policy, your insurance is responsible for the person you hit.
Okay.
So what happens is you hit somebody, your liability covers them. They hit you and they're at fault. Their liability covers you. Okay. Obviously, physical damage of that vehicle is covered in that type of policy. But ultimately, when you have a ton of vehicles, and the more vehicles you have, the higher risk that something will happen is there. Right. So
do you guys insure, like, let's say the landscaper, he's got the dump truck and then he pulls the trailer, and then he has a chipper or a bobcat or a skid steer
100%.
or something like that on it? Do you guys insure? Like, can you insure
boom trucks, dump trucks, flatbeds?
No, vehicles like
pickups.
that. But like the trailers, you can insure as well.
The actual trailers, just to go down, and like I said, everything's a rabbit hole in insurance.
No, but trailers is something you need to insure, guys.
Yeah. So the trailers you can add onto your policy so you can cover the physical damage. But in Florida, at least, when a trailer is attached to a vehicle, the liability from the vehicle gets transferred to the trailer.
Okay, but I'm thinking about the trailer flies off on the expressway. You hit a bump, the chain snapped, And now the trailer's doing 65.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the that's
down
gonna
the road.
Yeah, that's gonna be the physical. Yeah, right. Well, the liability.
That's why you gotta insure the trailer.
Yeah, if it hurts somebody, that's gonna be covered 100%.
Does that attach to the vehicle?
Yeah. So once the trailer's attached to the vehicle, so yeah,
I have insurance on my truck, and then I have insurance on my trailer, completely separate.
So that's inland marine.
Okay.
That's equipment.
Okay, I insure my trailer because if my gooseneck 40-footer that's loaded with 20,000 pounds of plants comes off the gooseneck ball and goes 65 down the expressway by herself, she needs to be covered separately than the vehicle. She's not connected to it anymore.
Right.
So you guys can do that.
You have the liability, yeah, that goes on an auto policy.
Okay.
You know, your trailers go on an auto policy, and then you have the physical damage. You know, in the
of the actual trailer.
Of the trailer. So you know, let's say it's
that's a full coverage.
That's what people call a full coverage. Right. People call it's not an actual term in insurance.
People know, let's say full coverage and PIP.
Correct.
With liability.
Correct. That's it, man. So we try to make it simple, but
it could get technical.
What
about, let's say, equipment? Let's say I know if I bought a brand new Kubota skid steer, $70,000, I have to insure that. They provide the insurance for me, and it's in my payment.
Yeah.
When it's done being paid for, it no longer has insurance. That insurance also covers if someone was to steal your machine. Okay, at least that's the last time I bought a Kubota.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But when I'm done paying for it, you're done paying for the equipment. Can you guys cover and put some type of policy on the equipment? Because I've heard plenty of stories of guys losing their machines being stolen. Trailers they didn't have insurance.
All the time, full of equipment all the time. I've had clients, you know.
So you can insure everything on the trailer.
You can insure everything inside the trailer and everything on the trailer and the trailer.
How does that work with $1 a pound? Like
so that's a whole nother policy, you know. So we got the commercial auto. Now that's inland marine.
Okay.
That's equipment.
Okay.
That's covering equipment. Now there's a couple different ways we can cover equipment. Obviously, the bigger pieces of equipment, you schedule them. Okay. Which means that you list the serial number, year, make, model, value. Okay. Right? You list that. That's a cheaper rate than unscheduled.
Unscheduled would be like your
mowers, your blowers, your
weed eaters, trimmers,
the small stuff.
Okay.
So all of that, obviously, each one is maybe $800, not so expensive, but they add up in a trailer, and the whole point is to cover it once they steal a trailer and everything's inside. You know, 10, 15, 20, $30,000 of equipment inside. So we want to cover the equipment in that trailer. Okay. And we can do that through not doing it through scheduling the bigger stuff like the tractors. You don't need to schedule that. You can do it through unscheduled, which is
with the VIN number.
That's the scheduled. The VIN, putting the serial number,
that's the scheduled.
Value, that's the scheduled. And then we have the non-scheduled, which is a blanket, and it's a little bit more expensive, but you have the freedom. You know, obviously you got to show proof that you do own that. You know, I like to tell people, hey, take a picture and send me an email that you took all the pictures, so that at least we know the insurance company knows.
If you bought something brand new, you can get the invoice. If you lost the invoice, you can go back to the store where you bought it. You can have them print it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because there's been so much fraud. I mean, let's keep it real. You know, people have done so much fraud. We're in Florida. We're in Miami.
We're in the number one.
Come on, you know, we gotta, you know, so these companies have learned their lessons, and they do investigate that to make sure that it's not fraud, you know. So, you know, some people are like, well, I pay a premium for this. They shouldn't be. Unfortunately, other people have ruined it for the ones that are doing it right. That's just the consequences we have to live with. You know, keep track of what equipment you want to insure. Yeah, you know, you don't have to, but if they do smell something fishy, they're gonna start questioning you and going into it. So. You don't want that.
No, you don't want that. And also, like
inland marine is very cheap. Yeah, it's not.
And if you do
I like to think of it as 1%.
It's 1%.
I like to think of it as 1%
of the value of what you're insuring.
Of the value. So let's say you're insuring $100,000 piece of equipment. She'll be paying $1,000 for that equipment. A year.
And then again, you don't make a claim if they stole one blower. You make a claim if they steal the whole trailer because you don't want to put claims on your policy.
Correct. That's the last thing you want, man. You want major stuff, you know, and you want to do your best to keep security. And they want to know, what do you do for security? Do you lock it? Do you keep it in a gated place?
Have you seen you get phone calls with a lot of claims of a lot of things like that, theft and stuff like that? Do they contact you directly or they contact?
So they contact me. We like to help the client in every way possible. Like we're very personal touch. I mean, kind of like what you got going on, man. Very personal touch. We like to be there. This morning I got on the phone with an underwriter and a client. Something came up. I wanted to make sure they were being taken care of. So we do try to be involved in the claims process, which is super important. Some agents don't do that.
No, because you let's say you act like an attorney at that point, you know,
You're a
making sure
consultant.
that everything is right. They're consultant, making
I'm a
sure that everything is
consultant, man.
right and they're not being misled, because the insurance company doesn't want to pay. So they might do
They
everything possible
they do
to not
everything in
pay.
their power not to pay.
To
yes.
not to pay.
So you have to make sure everything is organized, and that's why agents are so important. In the personal, not a big deal, you know, but in the commercial, big deal.
Big deal, and that's why you want somebody that's on your side, not just to get your monthly payment and hey, I got another. No, it's not that. It's more than that. At least with him, I feel that that's what it is, and that's what I've seen, and that's
the way I am. That's how I've built my company. I'm 29 years old. Thank God I've been successful. So money is not something that I'm like, I have to have it.
Yeah.
You know, so I just do what I need to do to help my client. And bro, that has been successful for me. That has worked out for me. And it's true to my heart, man. People know when you're keeping it real. I know you know that. And people know when you're bullshitting them.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I want to do is I want to give a personal touch and keep it real, authentic, myself. I don't want to be a robot. There's too many robot agents out there that just are reading from a book and they don't know the actual knowledge. So I wanna be that guy that is like you, but knows what they're talking about.
In your space, yeah.
on your
So
side.
like if you guys have, you know, 5 red flags right now and you're looking for insurance, it's not call an insurance company and hide everything and let them figure it out. It's you call Adrian and you tell Adrian, hey dude, I got 5 red flags. I got 7 bombs that went off. Can you help me or no?
That's exactly how it works, bro. You couldn't have put it in a better. You should be able to trust your agent.
100%. You should be able to do
trust
that with
your agent,
everybody.
And your agent should be able to tell you, hey, I like that idea. Hey, I don't like that idea. I think you should do this. We're risk mitigators. We're consultants.
Because you know what you can do in your space.
Right.
You know, someone calls me with a bomb, I know how to, you know, shut off the bomb. I know how to take care of the problem because that I'm a professional in my space and you're a professional in yours. I don't know everything about insurance, even though I've had it for all these years. Yeah. I don't know a thing like what you know. Yeah. And aside from, I know we're talking about this, but I want to continue on just a couple of the other things that you guys offer so we can get that.
So we did equipment, general liability, auto, workers comp. You know, another one that is really important is umbrella.
An umbrella policy.
An umbrella policy.
Okay.
So what an umbrella policy is, it's just added coverage from an already existing policy. Every single general liability has $1 million per occurrence, $2 million general aggregate coverage. I know that's Chinese. Okay. But there's one coverage for general liability, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So in order to increase that coverage that a lot of vendors want, so you're gonna go do Walmart or Home Depot, I have people, they want $8 million in coverage. Oh, wow. So the general liability, since we don't have $8 million in coverage, we only have 1 million, 2 million, what do? You get the umbrella to cover the additional 7 million. So you add that 7 plus that 1, and now you're compliant for Home Depot, for example. Okay. So the umbrella is just more protection. Umbrellas are getting more expensive after Seaside. I don't understand. I had a conversation with a client about it this morning. I don't understand it. I mean, I get it, you know, that this happened and that a building fell and stuff. But I've been doing this 11 years and I've never gone through an umbrella claim. So I just don't know why it's so hard to get now and so expensive. But so I mean, it's just like everything. These days, man, it's not hard.
You're talking about here in Florida. In Florida.
We'll do it in 5 minutes, right, in Florida. So we'll get an umbrella in 5 minutes. It's very easy. But after the Seaside collapse, the
one that happened at the beach.
After that, the umbrella got more expensive, and right after that, it was hard to get them. Like, believe it or not, there was. I mean,
for those of you that don't know, it's a building in Miami Beach, because not everybody is familiar with it, and that's pretty much local news. A building that was from the 80s, right?
From the 80s.
From the 80s, was showing signs that it was falling apart, and this is a full, you know, a non-vacant
right,
building,
people in that building
with people living there. That the apartments were a lot of money, in the millions, and it had a couple hundred units, and it collapsed, and everybody, I guess, just wrote off that it was fine. Inspectors fine, and it ended up collapsing, killing a lot of people, and that's why everything went up.
So that affected the umbrella. So you know, it has gone up. But it's still a reasonable cost, especially.
No, and if you're working in that space, guys, like that just gets tagged on as part of what it is, and it gets tagged on to the consumer at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So it's not like a huge deal. It's not gonna come out of your pocket. It'll come out of your pocket when you make the payment, but you'll make it up at the end of the year.
You want to add it into your deals.
Your
right?
deals. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the aged receivables insurance, because that to me has blown my mind.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more about that. I want
Yeah.
you guys to listen to this before we get into how easy it is for you guys to apply for insurance on his website for workman's comp.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that next. Tell me about that. For you guys, I explained what age payables is.
Yeah. So we teamed up with one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, Alliance, which is basically providing insurance for things like credit. You're going to sell a product, they owe you money. We can insure the money that they owe you from that product that you basically not lent out to them, but you fronted to them.
And they never paid you.
And they never paid
So
you.
if you're a nursery, guys, this is how I take it. You're a nursery, you gave somebody 30 days, and they went ghost on you. Now you have another option. If they don't have a bond, if you don't have an attorney, or you don't want to start, with a whole attorney and all that, now there's another option that you can use. Same thing with any of your projects, of whatever you do. Now you have another option. Tell us about this, because this is very interesting to me, because I didn't know that this existed, and that's something that I would love to jump on.
Yeah. So, I do a cheese manufacturer. I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
And he's always, and I want to make this clear that whoever you're selling to, they're going to have to go through an approval process.
Okay, tell us the whole thing. Okay. How does this work?
So they're going to have to go through an approval process in order to get that vendor approved to be able to issue.
To do that. But that's great, guys, because if you're giving somebody credit, I know in our industry it's a handshake. No problem, man. I love you. And that's basically how it is. Some people do have contracts, but this is deeper. It's like, you really want credit? All right, look, I'm going to have my agent call you, and he's going to do this.
And once that person is approved, you're not going to have an issue not being able to get that insured, because once they're approved, you can give them as much of the product that you want, front them as much of the product as you want, that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then they will honor. If they don't pay you the 10 grand, you put that claim, they're going to give you that 10 grand. If they don't pay that 15, 20, 25, we have a limit.
What's the limit?
I'm almost positive that it's based off of the amount that you want to cover. So if we want to cover 300,000, obviously the price is going to be a little bit more.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that.
Yeah, because that's what it could be. There's nurseries here that could have. You could be a small nursery, 5 acres, and have 50 grand out on the streets. You can be a nursery of a larger caliber that you have $1 million on the streets.
You give credit out.
Okay.
It's the amount. So
Okay.
you give 1.5 million a year in credit out. And that's why that's where you're gonna pay based off of that, right?
And what are the rates on that? Like, do you have an example of a customer that's?
So I don't have an
now?
exact rate chart like I would like a General Liability Workers Comp. They have their own internal. I work with I have a direct representative that works with me in the company. And I send him all the information. It's a super simple application. It's probably 15, 20 questions. We send it into him, and then in less than 24 hours, we have a price as to how much, you'll be able to be insured.
So that's something
credit you can give out.
Okay, how much credit you can give out, and then based off the people that you want to allow to give credit to.
And the person that you want to allowed to give credit to, they have like an even smaller questionnaire, maybe 5, 10 questions. They want to make sure they're legit. And then they get approved, and that's it. It's official. You can start.
And that's quick. That's 24 hours as well.
Very fast.
Wow.
It's very fast. He works very fast. He gets back to me very fast. I mean, I try to work with people that are fast, because that's what I like to be. Fast.
100%.
My logo, I built it fast.
For real.
I want 15-minute certificate turnarounds. I want to make sure that if you're calling me, you're gonna get on the phone with me, and you're gonna finish what we need to do and move on to the next thing fast.
Yeah, because we're all busy.
Gonna be dragging this 2-3 days,
Yeah.
so you can get a vehicle on your policy or a payment done or a certificate of insurance. I mean, 15-20 minutes for
most people I know, like let's say for me, I'll reach out to my agent while I'm driving to the DMV, and say, hey, I forgot, I gotta get insurance on this truck. Can you insure it real quick and send me the thing? Boom, 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 and I get it quick.
That's how you need it, man. That's how you need it, and that's why it's so special. And I like working with business owners, because they understand time is valuable. So I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
But,
No, you act the way that you would want people to be with you as well.
100%.
So
Yeah.
you give and you get, and that's basically how it works. What is one of these policies? Do you have an idea? What's something that if it's $100,000 a year that people give out in credit, is it $1,000?
No, so I did about,
year,
let's say
5,000?
1.8. I did somebody that lends out about $1.8 million a year, and I think it covered them up to 300,000 on any single given one.
Okay.
Right, and then I think it was 15
Grand?
13 to 15 grand
A month or a year?
for the year.
That's cheap, man. That's
the
cheap.
year.
Guys, think about it. Listen to what he just said. $1.8 million for $13,000 to $15,000. You have it covered. One person doesn't pay. It could be 75 grand. It could be.
And they're
That's cheap.
And they're not. They do look at losses if you have a crazy frequency, but they're not gonna raise you because you had an accident. I mean, I'm telling you, one of the cheese manufacturers that I did, he had a couple claims right up front. And he's still paying that policy, no problem.
He's still paying the same rate?
The same rate, bro. They haven't even, they're a little bit negative on him.
Okay.
And next time they renew, they might take a look at that. But
they work on, let's say you sign up, let's say someone's listening right now and they're like, man, I have this guy, he owes me $75,000. It's been 6 months. The guy doesn't pay me. He wasn't bonded.
You can't go back, bro.
You can't go back, right?
No. From the second that you start the policy forward, you can show everything, but if somebody 6 months ago didn't give you the money that you want now, you can't start this policy and put a claim in.
Yeah. What I see with him on this one specific thing is if you're interested in it and you want to lend more money out, because the theory is if you give out credit, you're gonna sell more. It is true, but there's a lot more liability, a lot more risk, because you don't know what's happening in these other people's businesses. That's why I like to be close and personal with all of our customers and become friends with them. That way I know what's going on. So, great minds think alike, and we can try to work together on getting them out of that situation. But you might be able to open more doors and sell more. You can call a garden center, you're a nurse, you can call a garden and say, hey, look, man, I give you terms. I'll pump you with $100,000 worth of product. And it opens doors. But now what happens if the garden center doesn't sell it, or they don't pay you, or they go out of business? You don't know what people are doing. The economy's going down a path of uncertainty right
100%.
now. The dollar and all this other stuff as well. So you just want to be able to have that confidence that regardless of what you're trying to do to create more opportunities for your business, you are covered with all these different insurances. If your insurance agent, you call them now and you're like, hey man, do you offer this? And they don't answer the phone, and it's been 2 voicemails and the guy's out having a martini and he started his weekend early. That's not the insurance agent you need. You need an insurance agent who's going to come through and work for you and battle for you and fight for you. And if something new comes out, he's going to call you. And if a rate change, he's going to make sure that the company did the rate change because he's on it and he's invested in what he does. That's who you want to work with, guys. When you're climbing the ladder, you want people that can take care of situations for you and take things off your plate because you have so much already and you're trying to build and build and build. And you need a team around you, whether it's someone that is a W-2 employee or whether it's someone that you work with. You want to make sure that they bring the fire to the table. You're a landscaper. You want to make sure the people you source your plants from are fire. The insurance, fire. Whatever it may be.
We only work with A-rated carriers.
A-rated carriers. You buy trucks. You buy trucks.
We want to put you with quality people, man.
Quality people. You buy trucks. I buy trucks from the same guys, from the same dealers that take care of me. The same guy that I buy Kubota from, that's the same guy that I work with. That's the same guy that I work with. Why? Because we have a relationship. I can buy a Kubota. I don't even have to go to the store. I can sign that paperwork right here. That is what it is. You're using a bank. Did you know that there's banks that can do separate things for you if you have X amount of money in your bank account? And it's just using these tools and using the people around you, not using the people around you, but being involved with them.
Yeah, using the people around. There's nothing wrong with that. Using the people around you, just like they should use you.
Yeah, well,
they should use you. You should use them. That should be okay.
That should be okay. But that's what I'm getting at. You want to have a team around you guys that is focused on you and focused on getting things done, that are professionals and they have that same mindset. Quick, fast, speedy. Let's get it done. Let's bang it out. Let's look out. That is what you want if you want to climb the ladder fast. And that's what I loved about him is just, he's involved. And anyone that's involved means that they're passionate, they're pumped, and they're ready for war, and they're ready to go out and fight. for you and make it happen. And that's what I loved. That energy is what I loved about Adrian, and that's why we brought him on. And I feel like he can be such an asset for just so many people. You have the same policy forever and ever and ever. Maybe you can reach out. You have 5 different policies.
Yeah, if you've been with
let
somebody
them know.
for 5 years, and you haven't shopped around, it's probably a good time to make sure that they're giving you the best rate.
Yeah, and on different things. Most people, they do get married the first time.
Right.
They just, hey, everything was great, and they send me my cards.
Yeah,
in the
loyalty is
mail.
great. We appreciate loyalty. That's great. And people see that we always do the best for them. But it doesn't hurt in personal, every year it's good to shop around. In commercial, every 3 to 5 years, it's good to shop around.
It's good to shop
around. So I recommend that.
I'm one that has never shopped.
If they
I get married and my guys take care of all of that because they have options to shop around.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And you have your specific situation because you work with an industry that specifically deals with that. Like if you come to me and you're renting slingshots, like I'm not gonna be able to help you as good as somebody that's doing insurance just for slingshots.
Slingshots meaning the side by side.
We're doing contractors, and you I think go more along the lines of farmers.
Yeah.
So definitely that thin line could make a big difference. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but look, my workman's comp is not with anything that has to do with farmers. Semi-trucks is not with anything that has to do with farmers. General liability is not with something that has to do with farmers.
That's why you're going to give me a shot.
100%.
Save you some money. So, I kind of want to talk about, if you don't mind, just kind of going back to the fastness.
Okay.
The workers' comp.
Okay.
The workers' comp online quoting.
Mm-hmm.
Because
talk about that.
We're one of the only retail agents that's providing direct workers' comp quoting and binding online on our website.
Wow.
So you don't even need to speak to an agent. If you're a landscaper, not a tree trimmer, if you're a tree trimmer, you need to call me.
Okay.
It's a higher risk.
Okay.
Not a lot of companies do that. I have hard to place markets that do that.
Okay.
If you're a landscaper, a simple landscaper, you need workers' comp, go to my website, insprovider.com. You can click quote now. It's going to take you to 10 questions that you can quote, get the number of how much your policy will cost. You put your payroll, you put what you do, landscaping, and then it's going to give you a price and you can bind it. The second that you bind it, our office is going to get the paperwork together, send you everything. We're going to assign an insurance provider to you.
And then you got to submit everything, right?
It's going to be
all
done.
The paperwork?
No, it's going to, we might have some signatures that we need to send to you and stuff, but it's already going to be done.
Wow.
Honestly, you can get a quote bound, no lie, 8 minutes.
That's crazy.
No lie. And if you have any questions, you need help, call me.
And you could do it 24 hours too.
24 hours.
You do that for anyone in the nation? Or
right now
Florida?
It's Florida only.
Florida only. Okay.
We're working on the nation thing.
Okay.
That's a process. We got to get non-licenses in 50 states.
You got to get a partner.
And obviously that, it's we have a lot of vision for the future, bro.
Okay.
I'm 29 years old, and I think that we have a long way to go, and I have a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm. Do the ideas now that we're on this topic that you have, they're all in one sector, in this sector of insurance, or they're in different things?
So that's my core business. So my core business is insurance, and my ideas flow
through insurance.
I have new ideas so a lot of it is insurance, but I do have a website company too.
Okay.
I build websites, especially for people starting out.
Okay. I
start their company, I get them a bank, and then I do their website,
Okay, so you open a company.
I'm helping new entrepreneurs start a business, and and this is for future entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. You always want to create businesses that have to do with your business.
Okay.
Right? So I'm creating a website. Companies, obviously business owners need websites. They also need insurance, and they also need website updates. So a client tells me, hey, my website's old. I'm going to tell them, hey, I can get you a really nice website. So you always want to create businesses that have to do with your business that you can.
So other businesses.
Flow. So we're helping, build websites for business owners. And if they need insurance, great. We're going to provide that too. That's my core business. But I have a real, I want to build a community of people that want to start businesses.
Okay.
Young guys that have a vision, don't know where to start. I want them to be able to call me and say, Adrian, where do I start here? I'm going to say, hey, you got to open up your company. You got to get a bank account. Here's your website. here's your exemption if you want to work for some people and do something, things like that. I want to guide, new entrepreneurs, because I remember being lost at the beginning, and I had an accountant open up my business, and I never have spoken to that person again. Okay. All they did was charge me $300, open up a business for me, and I didn't like. I like personal touches. So if you like a personal touch and you really want help with, creating that website,
relationships,
branding, I'm helping new entrepreneurs do that. And it's exciting, bro, because I'm always that friend pushing people to start a business. Like, I'm that annoying friend. I work with so many business owners. I'm like, man, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You can be, manage your own time. You could, get out of the matrix.
I know, but it's not
like they're saying, they're saying these days.
I'm 100%, but I know that it's not for everybody.
No, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. And I'm learning that. I'm learning that. Through interviewing people and stuff like that. I'm learning that not everybody is as ambitious as you, and that's okay. Owning a business is not easy. And people think it might be easy, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. And in reference to, like, I'm trying to get agents, and I understand what you say. I just don't want any softies, man. Yeah, like, I'm being honest with you. I don't want any softies. I want guys that are can take a little bit of constructive criticism. Some guys that can handle a bad word flaring here and there, because this happens in business. Tempers, you've been working a deal for 3 months, it's about to fall, you want, oh my God, these things happen. So we need people that are gonna be hard, bro. Like, we don't want softies.
Well, you can have a softie. It's all based off how you work, because I've worked with softies, and it's all based on how you word what you want to say and how you get it out. I've worked with plenty of softies that today they're grown men, and women.
Moldable people is important.
You mold them and you teach them, because not everybody has had the experiences that you've had, and the time that you've been doing what you're doing. Like, it's like, this stuff, and you got to guide somebody in it. And I feel like I can crush somebody in a soft way and touch them right here, and we'll have the best rest of our lives together.
I love that.
And it's not, screaming, cursing, or pushing them down to the floor, making yourself feel like I'm bigger than you. Nobody's bigger than nobody at the end of the day. And what you got to bring to the table is respect. That's how you get respect. When you scare somebody into doing it, then it's not there 100%. Yeah. They're not there 100% anymore, because it's more of something being forced.
Yeah. As a first generation Cuban, I mean, I know that you are
I'm Cuban American.
Cuban American. So, we have very tough parents.
Oh yeah.
So I've had to deal with tough things through, and it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because now I was able to start a company, have employees, do everything, because my dad was hard on me.
Oh, 100%.
He paid me the minimum wage when I, for the first 5 years of working for him, bro. I made $10 an hour the first 5 years I worked for my dad. Yeah. And he did when he sold the agency, but he gave me the willpower to crush it all, man. And that is so important in business, because as a business owner, you're gonna run into issues, and you need to crush the issues and find solutions. So
I feel like what builds us as kids is that it's never enough attitude from your parents, and them understanding that you can do better, and they push you to do it, and they don't give you that gratification of, oh, I love you, son, you did such a great job. Like, that's nothing. For me with my father, I looked at my dad in the eyes the other day, and me and him have a very different relationship than father and sons normally do, because we've been through a lot together. Right. And I tell him, I'm like, Dad, I just want to thank you, from de corazón, from my heart, that you treated me the way you did, and you built up the person I am today, because you saw my potential in just everything in life, and you never gave me that gratification of good job. And that's something that as a boy you don't understand, but as a man you understand how important that is, to have that figure. That to me really, really, really molded me, and I believe that molded me into the strong personality, just man that can endure so much today.
I have a question for you. Do you think that that's a dying breed?
I think it's a dying breed, because the way society is today, there being less God in the world is where it really stems from. For me, it starts there. Because if you have God, then you're going to fight to keep your marriage clean. You're going to fight to be married before you have kids. And then once you have kids, you're going to fight to keep that marriage because you made a commitment in front of God at the church saying, till death do us part. So if, I've had this conversation with my wife, honey, it's easy for us to give up, but that's not what we're going to do here. We're going to take the hardest route possible. We're going to work on each other, work on ourselves, work on our family, and that will never happen.
Right.
You get me? And those are the things that happen stemming from what God wants for you in life. For me, it's the traditional way of life that has been broken. So it broken my father, your parents, our parents' generation, right? It broke there. In the 50 to 60-year-old people right now, that's where that started to change. And then now it's just broken up completely, and now society is completely off compared to what tradition is.
Right.
And I feel like to have a fulfilled best life where you're fulfilling the whole pie, because everybody thinks it's money. For me, in my life, is a partner that is strong, that believes in me, that pushes me. Having kids that keeps me rolling. Having a team around me, believing in God, number one. Having health, fitness, going to the gym, feeling a certain way, just trying to be the best person.
Those
you
are
can
your
be.
principles.
Conscious decisions on everything, because you are where you are today based off the decisions that you've made throughout your whole life. And I always try to make a quick decision and fast.
You have a set of core values.
Core values that I feel like are traditional, and it's more tradition based. And that's why I'm with my same girl 17 years. High school sweethearts, married, 3 kids, and
it tells you a lot about a person, man.
A lot about a person, but I feel like, you do things the traditional way, and life just is so much easier, because that's just, I don't know, that's how I feel. I don't know. And it's not for everybody, because everybody's path is different, but the way that my path is, I feel like that's what it is.
Right. So how have you built culture?
By being positive and implementing. For me, it's what's right based off of my relationship with God. Yeah. So what you have is not yours. It's given to you for a reason. Power is given to you for a reason. It's either from God or from the devil. Okay? That's how I look at it.
Culture, yeah.
That's how I look at it, and that's how you create a positive culture. Being kind, being understanding, giving, not being selfish. They're all tools, brother.
Yeah.
You get me? And that's what creates. That's one of the factors that creates a really positive culture within your business, is who you are, how you are. And then also, if you're pushing for the sky and you're pushing to exceed and be better, and you show that. One thing is speaking. You can speak it and speak it and speak it. That doesn't mean nothing. What speaks louder than words is your actions. And actions, I feel like, the team knows that, hey, boss he's not out loading trucks with us, but he's doing a podcast and we're going to be able to listen to it. And, he's out filming and we're doing things for Instagram and we're doing this. And, so it's a different thing. That transition was pretty funny because that had never happened before. So my guys would be like, why are you talking, selling plants? And why are you walking around filming yourself?
So, so something that I'm actually getting into now is systems and processes. I don't know how you do systems and processes here. If you have like a handbook, if you have like an SOP, I don't know what you do, but that's something I'm creating now, and it's helping me understand the whole culture in a business. How to put accountability as an important structure foundation for your culture.
We don't have none of that here. What I tell my guys is we work for our clients. We work for our clients. The orders that we have, because we fulfill complete orders for a landscape job, for a garden center, they need to fill up their nursery. Garden center buys and sells. They're like large brokers with a holding area, basically. Landscapers, they have from a little succulent plant up to a huge field-grown tree. We can get it all to them. So I tell the guys, we work for this. This is our boss right here, this list. Getting on time, doing this, standing out. God is blessing us by giving us the opportunity to be doing this. He's allowing us to fill up these orders. You get me? He's allowed us to reach that 1% or 3% and have clients that do that, and we've been able to service them properly.
So would you say you have a lot of turnover, or?
It's the same team, no turnover. Team. We have guys that have been here since day one.
That's good.
And
that's why you're able to have that.
No, it's all based off that, man. It's looking out, like, for real, man. I really feel like that. Like, the money's not for you, like, to go buy and show up in a 911.
Yeah.
That's not what it is. It's not to brag and say how much you make. You know, it's not about that. It's so much more than that. And if you want that positive culture, depending on who you are and how you are, you got to play the game properly. You know, of course, someone will want to come on and boast about what they make, and it's not what you make; it's what your company makes. Because without their team, you didn't make nothing.
Right.
You get me? So
100%.
So I see like the world today is more about look at me, and you're idolizing a human. No one should idolize a human. People should idolize God, and with that, you can become the best man possible, and you can go kill it every day. You can be you could be a G, you could be a shark, you can be a lion, you could be all those things, but it's the way that you let that out. You get me?
Gold.
Is really for me what teaches you. I don't go by no handbook. We don't play by no rules. We play by the rules that we all feel are correct, man.
Gold. Real quick, can we talk about something that has to do maybe with the plant?
What?
The plant movement?
What?
This whole entire Florida law with employees that need to have citizenship, how does that affect you?
It affects the people that have people that are working for them that aren't 100%. But there's a lot of things that can be done to help that. Like there's programs, there's people, companies that they can assist in getting them, you know, their green card or getting them, you know, more prepared, getting them a worker's permit and stuff like that. Most of the people that work in this industry are some of them are people that showed up a few months ago, let's say. But for the most part, it's people that are scared to even go. They've been here for 10 years. Their kids go to school here. Maybe they went to high school here.
So you're having a trouble. You told me you have a lot of the same employees. But when you do have that turnover, are you having trouble finding good talent to replace?
It all depends. There's sectors of talent within these industries. You know, to like, let's say, clean plants and keep the nursery clean, full of like from weeds, or spraying a specific pesticide or something to kill grass and stuff like that to keep the nursery clean, you don't have to really qualify for that. You know, anybody can learn how to pull weeds, you know. It's more in the technical duties of drivers or people that are managers or people that spray and mix chemicals. They got to know how to count. They got to know how to, you know, what a quart is, what an ounce is. So, you know, they got to know about that. They got to know how to read. So, you know, it goes by brackets.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that, bro. I love that.
Guys, so we've talked about so much today. Adrian, thank you so much, my brother, for coming and just bringing the fire and really teaching and educating on all these different topics. We talked on so many different things. And I feel like what you do is essential for just any business owner in any sector. And for you guys that are in the green industry, you know, we want to bring... I was very excited about this episode because I want to bring value to you guys and a person that we trust to be able to just help you and guide you get there. I feel like Adrian can bring that to the table in a big way. So if any of you guys are looking for anything like that, please reach out to Adrian. Let him know that you watched the episode of the Plant Movement Podcast or you listened to it. Adrian, is there anything else you want to add to this episode?
No, I just want to thank you for me being here, having me on. I think we added a ton of value. You know, basically, I just want to let everybody know if they do reach out to me, they're gonna be treated like family, which is super important. That's what we're all customer service centric. So that's very important to us. You're gonna be treated like family. You're gonna get what you need done in a quick, effective form, because we know your time is valuable, and we've put systems and processes to get it done fast. So give us a call, give us the opportunity. If you feel like maybe you don't have the service you deserve, you got a little bit of high of a renewal, call me. We're going to make something happen. And thank you for having me, brother.
And don't forget, guys, if you're looking for workman's comp because you don't have it, you can go on his website. The link is down below, and you can check it out, and you can get a quote within 8 minutes.
Free quote, that's less than 8 minutes. Get a number. You don't have to bind it. Just find out how much it is. Zero obligation. If you want to get an idea how much your workers' comp's going to be, that's a good way. And then if you need it, you're happy with the number, you bind it. And we'll call you. That's awesome, man. I love it. The innovation that you put into what you're doing and what you're going to continue doing with just everything that you have envisioned for what you can bring to the table for the insurance space. I love it, bro. It's going to be huge, bro. Keep innovating. Huge, man. Love you guys. As always, you know we're going to continue bringing that fire. So stay tuned and you'll see us on the next one. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this edition of The Plant Movement. Willie and Eddie invite you to connect with them on Instagram at both The Plant Movement Podcast and A's Ornamental Nursery. Those links are in the show description. Please leave us a well-worded 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help others find the show. And remember to tap the follow button so that you'll be notified when the next edition of The Plant Movement is available.